Morning, everybody. Morning. How are you? Look at you. Great. You little intimate little crowd, you. How's everybody feeling after?
Great.
Was Easter just this past week? Was that our Easter service this past week?
156 people. Yes.
How many, Kathy?
156.
156 people last week.
Yes.
That's cool. You know, Kathy, it is not. It's not the size of the crowd. It's the quality. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And today we got it.
And we know quality when we see it, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, am I pandering?
What do you want?
Do I do that? I've been accused of that before. Cell phones are great. Let's turn it off or silent or whatever that needs to be so it doesn't ring, and turn off that technology and turn on the technology of our hearts. Now, Lisa and I were just communicating a moment ago, and we thought, you know, it'd be really cool if we just had a little, almost like a little prayer circle kind of intimacy. Since you guys aren't vast in number, would you like to move? Anybody like to move forward so that we're just a little more intimate feeling? Does that appeal to anybody to be able to do that?
You want us in the middle?
Yeah, whatever you think. We're just, just get closer.
Closer to the front.
Let's get close. There's several chairs up here up front. There's a couple right over here in front of me. If you want to be in front of a band.
That's fine. You're
And when I
fine.
say band, I mean me. Tom, you're good. I think that chair's got Tom's impressions in it from him sitting in it every week. And that's kind of like his chair. This is great.
I like that. Now I feel like I can just do this.
All right, well, let's do a little music. You guys, if you want, it's just me. So this is Transformation Station Ultra Light. It's just me. Solo, Transformation Station Solo. And if you guys feel like, you can get up or you can have some motion and move around if you want to. Stretch your arms a little bit. Get those receptors up in the air and get ready to receive. Get ready to receive. Good. I can create anything I want.
expressions on each face today, and I know that it's the presence of the Lord. Sweet Holy Spirit, sweet heavenly dove, stay right here with us, filling us with your love. And for these blessings, we lift our hearts in praise. Without a doubt, we'll know we have been revived when we shall leave this place. And so I invite us in this beautiful energy that we have entered into, just to close your eyes and bring your attention to your breath, allowing this natural exchange that we have with the universe to fill your physical body, allowing it to fill your mind, to fill your spirit, to fill your heart, and sense its warmth and wisdom, knowing just where to go in your being, just what to do to heal what needs to be healed, to reveal what needs to be revealed, bringing centering and harmony. Notice this natural flow of energy among all the many parts of you. No part is dispensable to the whole. Every part embraced, every part welcome. All of you, totally magnificent. On your next in-breath, breathe in the gifts of your ancestors, all those who have come before us, and sensing how we in our very presence here in this place today are standing on their shoulders. Their presence is foundational to our purpose for being on the planet at this time. Breathe inside of the fullness of this awareness, being aware that we have human ancestors, we have geological ancestors, we have cosmic ancestors. Native Americans call this all my relations. Bring inside of the aliveness of this gift, sensing and feeling the lifeblood of this rich inheritance in every part of your being, the heft of its earthliness, the transcendence of its divinity, breathing into every part of your mind, your heart, your body, your inner biome of beingness. Your next out breath, I invite you to breathe out the gift of your beingness to the universe, into the heart of our beautiful Mother Earth and all of her sentient and non-sentient beings, to the cosmos of endless possibilities, to all those who will come after you, your descendants, knowing that they too are human, biological, and cosmic. Sensing how the natural response to this rich exchange of in-breath and out-breath is gratitude. Take a moment now to be with this gratitude, saying to yourself, thank you, thank you, thank you. On your next in-breath, breathe your awareness to all those who are around you in this space, knowing that they are not separate beings, but seeing them in all of their relations as beings of this rich exchange, beings of interconnection. And sense into the collective feel that we are creating together already, the fullness that is here. And I invite you to include those who are here with us virtually and those who will be listening to this recording later. Breathe the fullness of who we are together into your heart, and then back out into the whole. Breathing in the fullness of who we are together into your heart, and back out into the whole. I invite you to allow this awareness to permeate this service, and then to flow out into your week ahead. Take another deep breath in, and when you're ready, you may open your eyes. So welcome, beloveds. I am so delighted to be here with you. My name is Lisa Lee. I'm the spiritual leader here. And I'd like to begin with welcoming our virtual community, our guests and family there. Thank you so much for being here. We know that we can't see you with our eyes, but we so feel your hearts, we feel your intentions, and we just want to welcome all that you bring that's helping us to create the magic that we're designed to create together today. So thanks so much for being here. And I'd like to invite anyone who may be here for the very first time with us to stand, knowing that we're together by divine appointment, and we celebrate everything that happened at our Keep standing because we have some gifts for you. The first gift that we have, Tom has given you a welcome packet that gives you a little bit of information about who we are as Unity and what Unity of Las Vegas has been doing to spread love to the world. And remain standing because we have one more blessing for you, which is an energetic blessing. And for this, all you need to do is just to open your heart, open your mind, and just to receive. And so I invite our community to rub your hands together and repeat after me. We see who you are.
We see who you are.
You are a magnificent divine creation.
You are a magnificent divine creation.
You are a one-of-a-kind miracle.
You are a one-of-a-kind miracle.
You are indispensable to the creation of the universe.
You are indispensable to the creation of the universe.
We love you.
We love you.
We bless you.
We bless you.
We celebrate the light that you are.
We celebrate the light that you are.
Thank you so very, very much for being here. And if you would like, inside of those envelopes, we have what I call the magic orange card. And so if you take that out and fill it out and leave it with us, we will have an opportunity to send you via email one of our meditations, and we would absolutely love to keep in contact with you that way. So thank you. So now we have an opportunity for our in-house Sangha to greet each other in the wonderful ways that we do, standing up, running around the room wildly, hugging each other. In the spirit of Sayubona, as we are all friends here.
Where the light is. hold you in our hearts just the way you are. You don't have to change a thing. You are an angel on this planet. Isn't it amazing to be born into these bodies and have this existence on planet Earth? I find it fascinating the more the pictures come back from the Hubble telescope and the Webb telescope. It's just phenomenal. Anyway, my name is Don Faust. I have the pleasure of delivering the thank yous and the invitations, and I think the appropriate thank you today is the visitors from Colorado and Illinois. Am I correct? Ohio.
And Southern California.
In Southern California.
And Florida.
Yeah, wonderful. So, we would like to start this segment by doing our identity and our purpose statement. And for the new people, this really is a statement and a reflection of our mission. So we are family for each other, welcoming, nurturing, and awakening one another at depth. And our purpose is birthing the new human as the face of evolving love on the planet. And it comes with the pangs of birthing and the beauty of, last week was Easter, what comes out of new birth. So we have weekly events. We don't go to a lot of detail on these, but I can't help but say the Life Reflection Cafe is tomorrow. It is fantastic, small group experience. And then on Wednesday, midweek inspiration is online, 1 to 1:45. We review Lisa's incredible message and what it means to us. And we haven't brought enough attention to the Course in Miracles recently, so I'm going to do that. No. So, lesson 159, I give the miracles I have received. No one can give what he has not received. To give a thing requires first that you have it in your own possession. Here the laws of heaven and the world agree, but here they also separate. The world believes that to possess a thing, it must be kept. Salvation teaches otherwise. To give is how to recognize you have received. It is the proof that what you have is yours. And miracles are happening in our Course in Miracles group, and that is on Thursdays, right here live and on Zoom. Get the Zoom at our website, unityoflasvegas.org. And now Ira Health, I call him Ira the Great, will be delivering the next message.
Hi. We had a concert last week, and we had a silent auction, and we're still running it for some items, and it's outside on the table in the foyer. So take a look and see if there's something there. And then, yeah, it's a fundraiser. We're splitting it with Unity and the CSL that comes ahead of us. And I just wanted to add, I was talking to the fellow from Ohio, Cincinnati, and he says he goes to Unity wherever he goes, wherever he travels. And I got my friend Eldridge sitting right behind him. I mean, I know him 11 years, and he's mostly in Chicago these days, but he stops by, and I'm always glad to see him. And with Joan and Eldridge are two of the oldest friends from Unity in Henderson. So thank you.
Very good.
Ira the Great, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so on May 9th, we have an invitation. It's called the Opening Mic Listening Room. This is another ongoing event, monthly, where you have an opportunity to share your poetry, your musical talent, or come and enjoy the poetry and the musical talent of those who are performing. So we'll see you at 7 p.m. on Friday the 9th. And Lisa, would you take over this last message regarding the choir? Can you talk to that, please?
Yes. Well, some of you may remember that we have had 2 opportunities to join together with the CSL group in music. And so we had a joint choir for Christmas this past year, and I think the year before. And so we had so much fun doing that, we decided, let's do this regularly. So some of the members said, yeah, let's create an ongoing choir. And so our beautiful choir director, Karen Jones, is asking us to contact her so she can begin to pull a group together and decide what days we're available. So I already feel the amazing energy of that. Whenever we come together as two communities, something incredible happens. Have you noticed that? Like that, like what we had happen last week? And this choir is another example of that. The men of the center is another example of that. So the more we can do this, the better. So if you love music and love singing, please contact Karen. Thank you.
Fantastic. And now transformation ultra light. Are you ready, John?
Sure, man.
Sure, man.
What'd you have in mind?
Sing us a song, would you, brother?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet?
You're doing a prayer thing.
We're doing a prayer thing then? Oh, jeez. There's a hook somewhere. It's going to take you.
Yeah. It's all right. I like your enthusiasm.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I deliver, baby.
Yeah.
Yay, us. All right, so this is our time for prayer.
Oh, it's not working? Oh, it's on.
Now it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Yay. It's kind of this magic thing that Caden does back there. So. So this is our time for prayer. And so I'd like to invite you, if you would like, to take out your prayer slips. If you did not get one of those, then I invite you to raise your hand so that our highly enlightened ushers can come by and give you a prayer slip. And so every week we do have a particular prayer consciousness statement that we hold around this. And so today it is, I am grounded in grace, and my heart is open to love. And so I'm inviting you to breathe that in. Grace is always this amazing, it's unconditional love that moves outside of karma, moves outside of anything that has happened and come before. And so I just invite you to be in the blanket of that love for yourself, for your loved ones, whoever it is that you are praying for, and just seeing yourself, seeing everyone open-hearted to how love is wanting to express in this moment through what you are asking for. And the universe always invites us to ask, because every time that we ask, we are becoming like a portal for even greater love expression in the world. And so I invite you to also see that for yourself and see that for your loved ones as you are writing their names down. This is something that is really a cornerstone of our message. In Unity and here at Unity of Las Vegas, we have a prayer team that joins together every Wednesday morning. And so we have an opportunity to really look at every single one of these slips and to create a prayer specifically for you and your loved ones. And then also we send these to Unity Village where they are prayed over for another 30 days. So what you're doing in this moment, I just want you to know, is extremely powerful and potent. And we're so delighted to be able to join with you in this miracle.
Celebrate morning, the cry of the moon on a lake in the night. Dreams that are born in the dawn's early light. Celebrate the morning, celebrate living. The laughter that sings in the heart of a child. Freedom that flies to the call of the wild. Celebrate living. celebrate evening. The stars that appear at the loss of the sun, whispering winds, we are one, we are one. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Celebrate land and sea. Celebrate you and me. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Celebrate land and sea. Celebrate you and me. Celebrate Earth Day every day. I could use a little help, a little hand clapping like this. Clap, clap, clap. Come on. Hey, celebrate Earth Day. When? Celebrate Earth Day every day. That's right. Celebrate land and sea. Celebrate you and me. Celebrate Earth Day every day. Every day. Every day. Every day.
Fantastic, thank you, John.
When's Earth Day?
So we picked,
Today?
huh?
When's Earth Day?
What day is it?
Today?
The 22nd of May? We just had it.
Just had it a couple days ago?
All right.
Did you
We
celebrate?
continue the Earth Day celebration.
Every day.
So have we picked up the prayer requests?
We will.
You have picked them up? We are picking them up. All right, so pass your prayer requests to the outside aisles, and our ushers will pick those up. Thank you. Kathy. So if you'll close your eyes, again, coming into the awareness that you are divine, and there is a light that shines in you that is brighter than the sun. And we share this prayer worldwide. There is an occasion for grief. And that grief in Canada, we pray for all of those. We hold them in light. And we pray for everywhere in the world that there is conflict, and that conflict brings Holy Spirit an opportunity where love can shine even brighter. So these prayer requests are answered easily and spontaneously with the intent of the prayer request itself. Thank you, God, for wholeness and relationships and physical healing. And in the abundance, our cup runneth over. And so it is.
So it is. So it is.
Just put it big.
Oh, one more thing. Dolores Stevens is a poet and a minister and a phenom that we love and enjoy, and we're so honored to have you share one of your poems. Is that correct? A phenom.
God bless you, and I love you. Some thoughts of
Oh, wait. I just took it with me.
You took it with you.
Okay.
some thoughts on spring. Spring, eagerness to to view the first robin. Anticipation of the embryonic plant life, budding of months-long dormant trees. Preoccupation with the chores of sprucing up, surrounding to greet the new season with clean, green, fresh, seeding time notions. Neglected is the true meaning of this 1/4 measure of the year. Forgotten the time of resurrection, of love. The brand new prelude to summer, warm, green, clean, green, sprucing up time of spirits, long hidden by summer, winter blues. Spring, newness of heart, a time for resurrection of life.
Use me, oh God, I stand for you. And here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Use me, oh God, I stand for you. Here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
So, welcome and happy Earth Day. I meant to say that before. Happy Earth Week, Earth Month. This is one of these things that we can perpetually celebrate, and we will be weaving that into our message today in a couple of ways. But before we get going with that, the title of our message today is Soul Unleashed, the Call of the Wild. And so we have this image of this woman that is half human, half wolf. And I'm always amazed at how, the muses work with me to come up with different things. And today I'm curious. We've just come off of this beautiful experience with the resurrection with Easter. And so I want to hear from you as you are looking at this, what comes to mind. What do you think this message is going to be about? And so we have Don and we have Ira that have mics. So if you have something you would like to share in terms of what do you think we're going to be talking about today with this message?
It feels, is that? Okay, there we are. It feels like it's talking about really following the call of your heart, the direction of, and sometimes that is going off the beaten path. Sometimes that is being willing to challenge the status quo, or what people may have been projecting on you, what you think you should be. Are you really following what your heart is telling you to do? Are you listening to that?
Yes, beautiful. Yay, I love that. What else?
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Taylor.
Hi, Taylor.
I often get messages visually instead of verbally. And so just looking at this, I see the union of the human and the animal, right? And a lot of the time in the men's groups that I'm in, that's what we call the integration of the wild man. And that's part of, the impulse that is alive in us, right? That we're born with, that we have to rediscover, right? And so I see, a wolf and a woman, and I see you. And if I superimpose you over those two, that creates three. And I like triangles and trinities because they give me the most reference, right? Instead of being a line, that's a container. And so I see the animal, the woman, or the man, and then I also see the spirit, which is you standing there. So I'm open to receive that, and I appreciate being here.
Wow, this is awesome.
Wow. From our visitors, you guys are invited back. Anybody else like to share? I don't see any of the hands, Lisa.
Okay, well, I think that is a very rich offering. I am so blessed, and it lets me know that we are all one tribe, because yes to all of the above with what we're doing. And I love that, because very often this term wildness has negative connotations. Have you heard that? Like if you hear that a person has gone wild, we don't often think that that's a good thing, do we? We think of anarchy, we think they've gone off the rails somewhere, and that they're, headed for, bad things happening for that person if we heard that. But we're going to put it in a different context, very much in the context of the sharing that we have had here. And so we're going to take a look at this whole piece of what it is to be inside of structures, what is it to be outside of structures, and how do we navigate this particular call. Because there is a very strong call for that on the planet right now. It's not to follow along the way we have always done. Do you get that impression? That following along in the footsteps of how we've already done it is going to get us there? We don't have that. We have, regardless of where you are politically, you have this idea that that's not going to work. Something else has to happen. There's something else that needs to be called forth from us. So I think a good way of framing that is taking a look at Charles Fillmore, who is our founder, believed if you looked at the Bible, it's really the story of the evolution of the consciousness of humankind. I mean, that's a really beautiful way to look at it as opposed to a real literal interpretation. And so if you look at the Old Testament, you have what's called the law. And it's really good, that's depicted in several different ways. We have the Ten Commandments, we have the Hebrew law, and all the ways that they were just really very diligent about following it, and what happens if you don't follow it. All of that, is the tone of the Old Testament. And then we have, moving into the New Testament, we have the law of love. We have Jesus Christ. And we have that new message, that something else, that we're being liberated out of that real defined structure of the law into something else that is much more transformative, something that is more healing, something that's more embracing, something that is more like the divine nature that we truly are. And so we're going to be looking at it in that type of way. And of course, if I had a few teenagers here, they would say, yay, we're not following any more rules. We're going to just do whatever. And so this is actually it's not an invitation into anarchy. And I love the Dalai Lama, who said, you must learn the rules so that you can break them appropriately. And so this is what we're talking about. We're talking about for those that have mastered structure, basically. Which means that, if you have a job and you wake up one morning and you're tired, you get up and go to work anyway. You kind of know that there's kind of a basic way of functioning on the earth that's still important. What do they say after enlightenment? The laundry. So you still have that. That doesn't go away, but we don't have to be imprisoned by that. We don't have to only be, subject to that one way of looking at that. So we're going to play with it because it has, that there's that real thin line of that invitation, and it happens several times a day if you really think about it. Will I march the line, or will I move into higher possibilities? And it's not only when we have, specific things that we're working on that are key points in our life. This is something that happens every single day, all day. We have this kind of negotiation. Most of the time we're not conscious of it, but there is that negotiation. Will I, maybe in this particular situation, I'm eating my cereal now, little things. How can I step into a larger expression of myself that's beyond eating the same cereal that we eat, every single day? All of those types of things are ways that we're going to look at that. And it's really this question is there a higher expression of love that wants to happen here as opposed to the current structure? So it's that type of question that we bring. So we begin to feel that sense of that structure, whatever it is beginning to feel like a rut, it's beginning to feel like it doesn't have a lot of life. Very often that's the question that we can ask to really move forward with it differently. All right, so where did all of this come from, you may wonder. So last week, leading up to Easter, I went to Excellent Institute, which is in Big Sur, California. Some of you have heard of it. I had been wanting to go to Excellent Institute because they have all the cool people go there. But throughout the years, back in the 60s till now, all the people that think differently, all the wild people, all those that are, thinking outside of the basic structures, that have kind of this leading edge of what's next, like what are we merging into, what are new different ways of framing this and holding this. And so I would get all of these emails throughout the years, and so finally, I got this email that Bayo Akomolafe and Nora Bateson were going to be there. Now, I have loved both of these for years, but they're going to be there together. And so I'm like, this is a must attend type of a situation. There's no way that I cannot attend this. And so Bayo Akomolafe, for those that don't know, if you've been coming here for a while, when I start talking about both of them, you'll say, oh yeah, I can see how they have been influencing the messages here. But they're both incredible in their own right. Coming together was just phenomenal. It's still difficult for me to really talk about it because it's still kind of integrating into me, or I'm being integrated into it, or however you want to look at that. But Bayo Akomolafe is a philosopher, writer, activist, professor of psychology, executive director, and chief curator for the Emergence Network, and the author of We Will Tell Our Own Story, and These Wilds Beyond Our Fences, Letters to My Daughter on Humanity's Search for Home. And Nora Bateson is the president of the International Bateson Institute and the creator of the Warm Data Theory and Practices, and I've gone through her training for that. She wrote, directed, and produced the documentary An Ecology of Mind, a portrait of her father, Gregory Bateson. She is the author of Small Arcs of Larger Circles and Combining. And so both of them, have this way of looking at life or finding wisdom in different ways than we would normally look. And so I really like that. Bayo Akomolafe tells us to really take a look at the places in our lives and in the world that are dark. There's wisdom in there. That's not something to be turned away from. That's not the evil. It's not something to be avoided. There's something in the dark that wants to teach us, that wants to be our teacher. And the same way he feels about when there are cracks, whenever something is not working, when there's a crack in the foundation, and he has this beautiful saying, which I like, make room also for the spirits of the fault line. So looking at those places, and we have a lot of that happening in our outer world right now, where we can say, this is not working like it's supposed to look. And so, looking there's something there in the brokenness that can teach us, that can be our teacher. So he holds that in a really beautiful way. And of course, he was responsible for naming this particular time together. And the title of it was Selah, Untaming. By the way, there's no such word as untaming. I have discovered the dictionary had a really hard time with that, And so I usually put in add to dictionary, whatever, it doesn't work. There's something about, our normal way of being that doesn't want us to become quite untamed in that way.
But this word Selah is a beautiful word, and I've heard Bio use this in a lot of different ways. So in the Hebrew Bible, Selah is a word that appears 74 times, and it's mostly in the Psalms. And at the end of one of the Psalms, it would just have this word Selah. And so biblical scholars over the years have been analyzing the heck out of this word, and nobody knows what it means to this day. They've come up with all these different types of things. Some people think it's a musical notation, an indication for a pause. Some say it's a call for reflection. Some people say it means forever. And some people say raise voices in praise. And so it has this kind of nebulous about it, which, is really kind of cool if you think about it, because a lot of times when we're reading a sacred text, we're thinking about, I really want to understand what this means. What does this mean? I have to get it, and how can I get it? And who can I talk to, and what else can I read to really get and understand this? And then you have like, Selah. Nobody knows what it means. And it's really a beautiful invitation, to really bring that sense of mystery, bring that sense of unknowing, and that there is some type of a wisdom there that we also need. It's not a negative thing, because our mind says we have to know everything. Not to know is bad. Knowing everything is good. And this is a different type of invitation. Like there is something that we need. There's some nourishment in that not knowingness, in that mystery that feeds our very beingness and can also feed the world. So he was very happy to bring us into that world of Selah in several different ways. So Malidoma Some, who is a Dagara writer and teacher, has written that in his language there's a word called Yilbangura, which is quickly and inaccurately translated in English as mystery. But if you do an exact and accurate translation, it really means that thing which your knowledge cannot eat. And I really like that, thinking about the mystery that way. What if that we consider that and embrace it in that way, that we will not impose our knowledge on everything, that we will really make space for the unknown and really give it the reverence that it deserves. So Nora Bateson has a very beautiful way of seeing wisdom in the living relationality of all things, and that it is in that relationality that we can really glean an understanding. And that's very different from the Newtonian scientific worldview, which is we take things out of their contents, we take them into the laboratory, we take them apart, we study all the parts, and that's how we're supposed to understand things. And so very often our logical mind also tries to do this. And so this is a turning that on its head. And so what she calls is this information that we get directly from the relationality of all things, the connectedness of all things, is warm data. And so I have taken some of her training around that to really have a different perspective of meaning in terms of the world. And it gives us the type of information, too, that we really need moving forward. I mean, we've kind of done this whole separation thing as far as we can go. Do you get that impression? We played the separation game. We have the hat, we have the t-shirt, all that. And now, clearly, it's time for something else. And so this is a different type of an invitation. And so what I have here is an image of a tree. And this is a tree that she actually showed there, which I think is absolutely amazing. It's a real tree. It's the cypress tree of Point Reyes, and it's located at Point Reyes National Seashore in California. And it really, really shows this picture of relationality. And so we may have in our mind that, a straight tree, that grows in an exact right way, and it's symmetrical, and it had all the right sun in the right places and all that, that's ideal. But that's not really how life is. It's more like this. And I love that particular picture of it. You can see how the tree has made its life in harmony, in relationship with its environment. And it's green, and it's growing, and it's thriving. So she has written this beautiful poem, which I'm going to share with you about that. She says, each one of us is a crooked tree, reaching for water and light, bending ourselves around obstacles, scary thoughts, hurtful moments, darkness, and thirst. Finding a way to breathe in the sun and hold the soil. Our branches are kinked and twisted because that's what it took to be here. The ways of learning to be in our worlds have shaped our responses. Our many experiences are speaking through every gesture. Our loves, broken paths, a tenderness, a criticism. Learning always, yearning always, in crooked beauty, to be a home for those who may find comfort in the asymmetry of our belonging. A nest cradling new life, tucked into an old log teeming with creatures, learning to be in each other's reshaping. And Nora has this beautiful saying that says, it's never just this and nothing more. So very often our mind likes to have things finite, like we've got it. This is all there is. And this is this opening that we are learning from each other. We are recreating each other in every moment. And that is an ongoing process. So I would say for sure that both Bio and Nora are wild. Would you agree with me? And so I want to go into a little bit more about what do we mean when we say wild and how do we become wild? So let's assume that you decide, of course I think all of you are wild or you wouldn't be here. I mean, it's I'm kind of preaching to the choir as they say that, but you may know some people that want to become wild, and so this is what you would tell them. There are 3 basic things, and of course it's not an exhaustive list, but the first thing I would say is to embody direct knowing. And that's really to create a living relationship with your own divine guidance. I would say that's a really core thing for anyone that is wanting to be wild or to really be impactful in the world and in their lives in a beautiful way. And learning to make that discernment between the ego self, which would prefer, by the way, that we not be wild. I don't know if you noticed that. The ego would prefer that we, march in step, stay to the right rhythm, don't deviate from the cultural norms, all of that. And the ego will tell you that. So this is listening to this other voice and be able to hear its language in a lot of different ways. And I'm getting this image now of an infant and how an infant knows the heartbeat of its mother and how it knows the voice of its mother and the touch of her skin. And so we want to create that type of intimacy with the divine, because sometimes that voice is going to ask us to do something that's unpopular. It's going to ask us to do some things that are people are going to think we're crazy. People are going to think, well, why would you do that? And so we want to be able to really cultivate that kind of relationship, making that distinction between the ego voice and our divinity, and then also to be able to follow. There is kind of a growth or a capacity that is involved with that. So the next thing we've been talking about a little bit is to befriend the great mystery, to let it be okay, not only okay that we don't know everything, but to trust that there is a ribbon of mystery that is woven through everything in life, and it is designed to help us, it's designed to give us wisdom. If nothing else, it gives us a rest from our mental mind, right? And when our mind can be quiet, we can hear other voices. And so we want to really make peace with that mystery and knowing that it is okay. It also comes along with it that there is someone or something else, there's a beingness that is larger than our mind that does know, that has a wisdom, that has a way of holding us, that is benevolent, that is on our side. We sang about that earlier today. So part of it is in that it is okay not to have everything together. And in fact, it's better if you don't have everything all together, because that's when spirit can come in miraculous ways. The next thing is to be relentlessly curious. And children are really beautiful at this. Have you noticed that? And I saw this statistic, which is amazing to me, but when I really think about it, it's not, that the average 4-year-old asks 450 questions a day. That's incredible. When's the last time you asked 450 questions in a day? But I've had 4-year-olds, and so I can absolutely say, yep, that's true. That's just the natural way. It is our natural way of being. We have to kind of be taught out of that, way of being. But to return to that, have you noticed that it's impossible to be curious and judgmental at the same time? That, you have to pick one or the other. You can't be both. But if you're curious, that means you're always open to learn, you're open for more, you're open to be surprised, you're open for miracles to happen beyond what you normally would think. So I invite us to move back into that space, to recapture that 4-year-old, and he or she is still very much in there, that just wants to play with life and be curious, even the things that are hurting us or whatever it is. Be curious about that. What is it? There's something in there. There's love in this that wants to speak to me. Let me hear that language. What is that? So, what I would like to do now is to speak about 3 wild individuals. Now, I've already spoken about 2 of them. But the first one is Pope Francis, which is very appropriate, given that we are in the process of celebrating and embracing his transition into his largeness. And so he has done some amazing things. So I want you to imagine, because in New Thought it's difficult for us to totally have this perspective, because some of the things he said in New Thought we say, no, of course. But you have to understand the environment of the Vatican, and to really, what is it like to be raised in that? Because it's not like he just came in there one day and said, I want to be Pope. He came up through the ranks of that, which means that he was heavily indoctrinated by that particular culture. And so you have to understand, too, with our history of Christianity, that the Romans, when they took over Christianity, it was not to enlighten people, it was to control people. And so the entire doctrine that Catholicism has supported has been towards that end. It hasn't been to free you, to empower you, which is what the original teachings of Jesus were. So I want you to just hold the magnificence of him as a being. But this is what he came up through in the Vatican. And so some of the things that he said is that we are all pilgrims on the same journey, though we may take different paths. If a person is gay and seeks God and has goodwill, who am I to judge him? Let us love, not in words, but in deeds. So each one of those statements for the Vatican is absolutely revolutionary. Do you have a sense of that? I don't know if you remember when he said some of these things and what the repercussions were, in the public and, in Catholicism. They were, there's a lot to really live with. But for most of us, he really became this amazingly beautiful being, that we could really celebrate and be with kind of across disciplines. And so I'm going to read a little bit of there is a poem or writing that is attributed to him while he was in the hospital. And of course, there are several people that say, well, he didn't really write that, and so forth and so on. But I'm going to invite you to transcend that and just really hear these beautiful words, because they are very much in the spirit of who he was. I'm going to read part of it, and then online you can read the entire thing. The walls of hospitals have been heard more honest prayers than churches. They have witnessed far more sincere kisses than those in airports. It is in hospitals that you see a homophobe being saved by a gay doctor. A privileged doctor saving the life of a beggar. In intensive care, you see a Jew taking care of a racist. A police officer and a prisoner in the same room receiving the same care. A wealthy patient waiting for a liver transplant, ready to receive the organ from a poor donor. It is in these moments when the hospital touches the wounds of people that different worlds intersect according to a divine design. And it is this communion of destinies we realize that alone we are nothing. The absolute truth of people, most of the time, only reveals itself in moments of pain or in real threat of an irreversible loss. A hospital is a place where human beings remove their masks and show themselves as they truly are, in their purest essence. This life will pass quickly, so do not waste it in fighting with people. Love more, forgive more, embrace more, live more intensely, and leave the rest in the hands of the Creator. And so we bless St. Francis in that, yes. Beautiful. All right, so the next person I would like to speak about, we know well, is our founder, Charles Fillmore. You know, I would definitely say that he's wild, wouldn't you? Pretty much anybody that has started a new spiritual movement has to be wild, you know, because they just cannot, you cannot do that in the spirit of following along the tracks of how things have always been done. So Charles Fillmore, this is the beginning of the 20th century now, you know, he was a vegetarian in Kansas City, which is barbecue city of the world. It still is, as a matter of fact. I mean, that was not, I mean, now we don't think about it. And like if someone walks up to you and says they're vegetarian, you're like, that's lovely. That was not a cool thing, you know, back in that time. And then he embraced women as leaders in the church. Another thing that we kind of look around, like you can look up here, right, and say, oh, there's a woman. Nobody said, I'm aghast. Why is there a woman that is leading Unity of Las Vegas? It's just something that we now accept. Women can be leaders, right? That was not the case back then in churches, and it's still actually not the case in several churches to this day. And so, you know, we have that. And then there's this other thing that I feel is just so curious. And I have been in Unity for like 40 years at this point. Of course, I started before I was born. But anyway, but the thing is, you know how people get known for certain quotes? And it almost becomes like part of their legacy. And it becomes something where you can look at that quote and say, yeah, that was what that person was about. So I'm constantly amazed that of all the quotes, and there are beautiful quotes by Charles Fillmore, the one that almost everybody knows is, I reserve the right to change my mind. If you go to any Unity church, or if you go to the village in Kansas City, or you know, whatever you do, if you say, Charles Fillmore said this, everyone said, yep. Or you could start it off and someone would finish it. And so I've always had a lot of curiosity about, like, what happened the first time he ever said that? Like, what was the setting where that happened? You know, I pictured him in a board meeting with other people that were really pressing him based on something that he said before, you know? And he, you know, banged his arm on the podium and said, I reserve the right to change my mind. Is that how that whole piece happened? So it's kind of fun to kind of play around with what is the origin of that particular saying. But I think there's something very significant about the fact that it has lasted and that we continue to say it. I really think that on the other side he's probably laughing about that whole thing. But there's so much wisdom in that. Can you feel that?
Yep.
I mean, and very often we have this habit when there is a leader of a new movement or of a church or whatever it is, you know, we want to put them on a pedestal and we want to make them, you stay this way, and what you say is what you have said, and you know, we're going to take that to the rest of our life as the absolute truth. Amen. You don't get to change. You don't get to evolve. You don't get to, you know, be part of the natural evolutionary process of the universe. And so what he's saying in this is, don't do that to me. Don't put me on a pedestal. He was handing us back our empowerment. That the divinity is in you. The wisdom is in you. Trust that guidance. Trust what is flowing through you. I may not say the same thing next week that I'm saying this week, because I am listening to that guidance. We may not agree on our guidance, but the point is for you to own your own empowerment, to know that you are divine. So all of that is in that one statement. And then he has another quote that he has said. This one actually is less known. And this one actually was taken from an article called Elevate Humanity. And it's on page 5 of the very first issue of Modern Thought magazine. That's not being published right now. But I love that this is the sentiment with which he wanted to launch this magazine. He says that we shall express our view upon all questions according to the light we have now. If tomorrow's light is stronger, we shall shift our views to suit it, for we follow truth wherever she leads, and we accord our contributors the same privilege. So it is exactly that same sentiment, that we are evolutionary beings, that we own our power, and that we're willing to always, it's kind of like that picture of keeping your ear to the ground, you've heard that, of listening to what is the divine telling me now, and then breathe again, and now, and breathe again, and now, and allowing that to be a living force within your being. So, the next person I'm going to choose is Jesus Christ. And so the setting of this particular quote is the Last Supper. So we were living in that last week for Easter a little bit. And understanding that during this Last Supper, this was kind of like a farewell to the disciples that had been with him. And the whole time, everything that he was doing, including communion, was about empowerment, was empowering them to see the Christ light within them. This idea of taking in the body and the blood of Christ is to recognize this is part of who I am now, and I no longer have to attach to this person in this physical body. I'm going to be empowered differently. And so this statement was part of that whole process. He says, very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these, because I am going to the Father. Now the part I like best about that is, and they will do even greater things than these. And I don't hear this talked about a lot, because most of us are thinking, wow, the ultimate is like, if I could, be the Christ, I have arrived, right? We tend to think of this, and Jesus was saying, no, you can evolve beyond that even. And that's a very powerful statement to really understand that there's no ceiling. So it's not for us to feel that there's some sort of plateau we get to and we have arrived. This is a constant reaching forward, and that the whole point of Jesus coming was to invite us to exceed his consciousness. And I love that. That's really the heart of the integrity of any teacher, if you think about it. Whether you go in grade school or wherever you are, if that teacher feels like, I will be honored if you do greater things than what I am teaching you, that is the ultimate honoring of any good teacher that is in integrity. So this is that invitation into this amazing wildness. And so I invite you to feel, because there's like a chemical reaction, there's kind of like an aliveness in that, because we're always asked, which way do we want to go? Do we want to toe the line? Or do we want to live in a place that is beyond what we think is possible, beyond what we think is our own limitations as being a human being? How will we make that decision? And it happens all day, every day. So part of it is being sensitive to that and always taking that step into, I had that cereal for the last 50 days in a row. Today I'm going to not do that. I'm going to do something else. Or I'm going to choose to turn on the news, and I'm going to think differently about it. I'm not going to just go with the knee-jerk reaction I always do. I'm going to be in a different place when I take the news in, or whatever that happens to be, but it will happen several times a day where you'll be invited to just be wild. Woo! And so I'm inviting us today to say yes to that.
Yes.
All right, so now we're going to go into meditation. So I invite us to take a few deep breaths, returning to the spirit with which we began the service of that beautiful exchange of air with the universe. And knowing that this breath and this exchange is a manifestation of the interconnectedness that we are with all things, with all beings, with our ancestors of many kinds, with our descendants of many kinds. So I invite you to be in the fullness of that exchange. And notice in this in-breath and out-breath if there are any boundaries that you may feel between you and the universe. And just allow those to become soft. Notice more and more there's becoming a freedom of a flow between you and the universe, and between you as the universe. And I invite you to bring this breath, this in-breath and this out-breath into your heart, so that you can experience the heart as a respiratory organ in and of itself, and sense its breathing. Sense into its beautiful qualities of warmth, of radiance. Noticing its strength and its ability to be with all, to embrace all, to not exclude anything or anyone. Feel that heft. Feel that strength. Feel that expansiveness. Sense into its tenderness and its vulnerability. Allowing all the ways you are deeply touched by the world to be present. Your dearest relationships, both the joy and the pain of them. Your deepest held beliefs about love and what's true. Allow the fullness of your heart to be here. And appreciating all the various colors and textures that are there, its beautiful complexity. Breathe inside of the fullness of that. Sense now how there is an allurement of love present, and how you are being drawn forth by this allurement. Sense how it is ever present inside of your heart, always calling you forth into something larger, calling you forth into a new way of being, a new form of order. Something untamed, something free, something wild. And breathe into the expansiveness of this. Breathe into the parts of you that are welcoming this. Breathe into the parts of you that are a little bit timid. Allowing all of that to be held in the breath. I invite you now to say yes to this allurement of love, yes to this calling, surrendering into the exquisiteness of the universal heart, and receiving the welcome embrace of its wisdom and its love. Melt into the freedom of its timelessness, how it exists with you intimately within time, and also draws you into itself outside of time. Breathe into this open spaciousness. Breathe into your awareness that the rhythm and the pulse of the universal heart creates a new order, undomesticated, non-conventional, yet harmonious and synchronized. Radically new, and yet strangely familiar. You know that you are home here in this newness.
This is the home that you have always longed for. Rumi says, you have escaped the cage. Your wings are stretched out. Now fly. See yourself soaring in the freedom of this spacious heart, sensing into the expansiveness of your fully extended wingspan. There are no obstacles. Nothing is in your way. Soar inside the full expression of your divinity, untamed, wild, and free. Knowing in your heart of hearts that this is the way it really is.
Where the wild winds blow, secrets ride the breezes, whispers only nature knows. The ground speaks in riddles, ancient and deep. The silence of the forest sings you right to sleep. You hear it in the leaves, and the eagles fly, and the wolves cry, breaking through the night. It ain't a logic thing, it ain't in your mind. It's the spirit talking, raw and divine. Call of the wild, can you hear it rise? Breaking through the noise, shining through the lights. Let your soul run free, no need to hide. Come alive, come alive, come alive. In the call of the wild. Old world's crumbling, illusions falling fast, built on control, but it ain't gonna last. The heart knows better, feel the deeper truth. In the dance of chaos, there's a secret groove. Rhythms run like the spot, they know where to go. Part of the rhythm, the earth always knows. Mountains are humming, the stars in a trance. Mother Earth is calling, come join the dance. In the corner of the wild, ringing loud, shaking the ground, lifting the clouds. Street all black, no mask, no guile. You were born to burn in the call of the wild. Call of the wild. So come with us through the trees and the skies. Let your fear fly where the eagle flies. No change, no fear, just the truth inside. Ever wild, ever free, ever alive. The call of the wild. That a song? Wow. Thank you to Lisa Lee for writing that.
And what Lisa just said is a reminder that that's an original song.
Well, she wrote
Yeah,
it.
she wrote
it.
it. Yeah, you know how to play
I just
it.
reflected it.
Yeah.
I'm a reflector.
A reflector musician extraordinaire, John Jones. And, I think for a minister to follow up Easter, right, that's a big service, and to follow it up, there's got to be some pressure, but you just blew the doors off of Easter. That was a great service. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. So this is the time for you to support this ministry with your financial gifts, and they are much appreciated. This is, believe it or not, kind of an expensive place to be. And so as you open up to the abundance of this heart that you're speaking of, know that your gift is an expression of the abundance of your life, and we certainly do appreciate your gifts. So we have a affirmation. If you'll hold your gift in your hand, we'll say this together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. You can pass your gifts to the aisles, and the ushers will pick those up. Together we can bless this gift, this offering, this church, this ministry, this message. We are indeed divine beings. Just bring a smile to your face in that recognition. And know that your smile impacts every person you give your light to. There is a natural connection and a flow of love in the universe. We are all part of this thread, and we are so grateful for the knowing and the experience of it here today. And thank you, God. So it is.
And I have an adjective that I've used before, but it's good here. John and Lisa, what a tasty service.
Delicious. Delicious. Yes.
Tasty. Alrighty, it is time for our affirmations. I invite everybody to stand and to repeat after me. Take a deep breath. I am that I am.
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 I am an unstoppable force
I'm an unstoppable force
of love in the world.
of love in the world.
Here I am,
Here I am,
fully incarnated,
fully incarnated.
availability.
Availability.
I am an author of the impossible.
I'm an author of the impossible.
I am a living miracle.
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 Miracle.
I am.
I am.
We are.
We are.
I am.
I am.
We are.
We are.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you, beloveds.
Oh, I'm sorry. Kate, go ahead, man.
What happened?
I stepped on his toes.
Oh.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God and some love.
together. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. And wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much, beloveds. Have a beautiful week.